There we go. Okay, so I see we have quite a few participants already joining us. That's wonderful. I am going to start recording. Oh, it looks like it's already recording, so we're good there. And everyone should see my screen, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure other people will join when they have time. So today's webinar is about the Strategic Fundraisers Year-End Guide and 10 tactics that will drive impact. So we really appreciate you all being here today. Before we get into the meat of the webinar, we do have a couple of housekeeping items that we want to go over. So to start, I will say that everyone is going to be automatically muted. All of the audio is available either on your computer, or if you're having trouble connecting through your laptop or your computer, you could always call in with one of the phone numbers that are available in the webinar, or it should be in the meeting link. If you have questions, please go ahead and add them in the Q&A function. We'll try to get to those at the end of the call. If they are super relevant to the topic that we're discussing, we might answer them as we're going. The chat is also available to everyone, so if you have comments or something that you would like to add, you can go ahead and put that into the chat box. And then there will be a survey at the end that's going to pop up. We really appreciate if you could just share your feedback. It helps us to improve as we do more and more of these webinars. All right. So we'll go over the agenda. The first thing we're going to do is just introduce you to the panelists so you get a sense for who everyone is on the call. Then we'll take some time to discuss why we're doing this webinar at this time of year, why it's so important, to have this discussion right now. And then we're going to share some high impact strategies and some examples that you can use and implement to help you with your fundraising needs from now until the end of the year. So we want to offer you some key takeaways that'll actually be impactful for you that you can utilize. So we'll start with introductions. I'll go first since I'm the first one on the list. I don't know if it's like a ladies first thing or what, but my name is Karina Huertas. I am an account executive by day, as I like to say, and a zookeeper by night because I have a crazy household. I have 3 kids that I have to manage. One of them that really keeps me on my toes because he has special needs. 3 dogs, 3 chickens, and a cat who thinks that she just runs the place. So if I seem calm today, it's because this is really like the quietest part of my life. So James, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure thing. I'm James Golder, everyone. I am the manager of partnerships at Bloomerang. And wow, that was a lot, Karina. I'm not quite sure how to follow that. I have 4 kids, but none of them are living at our house anymore. So my wife and I are.
Okay.
We do have 1 dog and 3 cats, one of which you can't see that's in my lap right now. I'm sure she will make an appearance at some point today. You'll see a tail go across the screen or whatever. Just that's the way life is these days.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Karina. Very happy to be joining you all. I have just recently joined Amelia just about 4 or 5 months ago as a chief revenue officer, but really my background is in fundraising. I've been in and around nonprofit fundraising the last 20 plus years. I actually started my career as a fundraiser for Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Denver, Colorado. Been in nonprofit tech fundraising for the last 18 years, and I recently joined Amelia, so hopefully I can bring some perspective on why cultivating your members matter, especially this time of year. And currently, I'm a board member of a local nonprofit that's combating human trafficking. And so I'm taking my own medicine in terms of our year-end fundraising approach here. So hopefully I can add some value and looking forward to hopefully talking to you guys after this webinar as well. So over to you, Karina.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Great to meet everyone. So the first thing we'll do is just give a little overview on our organizations. For those of you who are not familiar with Amelia, I just want to give a little bit of background. So we believe that signing up for like a local program, whether it's a sports program or arts or like a cultural event, it should be as easy as buying a book online. And that's always been our mission. So we provide a really powerful recreation and membership management tool that helps organizations across the board, whether you're a JCC, a YMCA, Parks and Rec or other nonprofit organization to really streamline your registrations and manage your memberships. So we empower over 1,500 organizations, all of which help people in their community stay active, healthy, and just socially engaged with their communities. I'm going to pass it over to James to give a little overview on Bloomerang and who they are as an organization.
Sure. Thanks, Karina. So I've been with Bloomerang for 10 years now, and when we started, we were essentially a donor management system. So think CRM for your donors so that you're able to better keep track of when these people have donated, what events they've attended, the emails that you're sending them, those kinds of activities. Since then, we've also added in the ability to manage volunteers as well as an entire fundraising platform. So events management, peer-to-peer fundraising, things like that. And we've kind of built it all together so that it's a one giving platform, so that you can very easily and quickly see kind of where everything lives for your donors. Again, see what events they've attended and how much they gave and what they bought at the auction and all of that kind of stuff. And so that you can communicate effectively with them, with the idea being that we want to make sure that they keep coming back and donating again and again. And we'll kind of talk about that a little bit as we go today, but we're really excited to be here.
Same here. And just to bridge the two organizations together, Amelia and Bloomerang actually have an integration. We're super thrilled to be partnering with Bloomerang on this webinar today. We do have very powerful platforms. Both are really user-friendly software that you can use, and together would offer a really seamless integration to make life easier for the organizations that are using both platforms. So although Amelia does have a basic donor management component to it, we realize that there are additional functionality that organizations need that are more complex that we can now offer through this strong partnership. So honestly, I think it just makes sense for us to join forces because, when you have two great tools working together, two great organizations that have the same vision, it creates a winning environment for everyone. So we're very excited to be here. So now we will start off with the topic of why we're having this kind of discussion now at this time of year. So I'm going to pass it off to James to share some insights there.
Great. Thanks again, Karina. So the main reason, as you can see from the countdown here, that we're talking about this right now is because the giving season, year-end giving, will be here before you know it. I said that to someone a week ago and my brain went, no, it won't. And I looked at a calendar and thought, oh, no, it will be. It's not far at all. So we want to make sure that you all are able to take whatever steps you need to do to optimize that entire process and give your donors the experience that they deserve. We want to make sure that we take care of these people. We're going to look at a lot of data today, give you a lot of tips and suggestions around that data. And the core message we're really hoping to deliver is we want you to be able to take care of these people who are already in your corner and supporting the good work that you're doing. And that will allow you to do more of that, which is what we all want. Let's see, I think the next slide, maybe, Karina.
Yes.
Excellent. So some of the stuff that we're going to talk about here is, as you can see, what's shaping donor behavior in 2025. I think really that second bullet point is incredibly important, and that is the power of connection. So as we'll talk about, all of the surveys that I've seen in my 10 years in this sector show that engaging with your donors, with your members, just with your constituents consistently and in the right ways, giving the right message, all of that, it just proves to be invaluable. So we really want to make sure that it's not just a one and done, right? Imagine, if you will, a donor hears about the good work that you're doing and says, yeah, I'm going to go give a donation. Or maybe they're already a member there and they're going to decide to give a donation on top of their membership fees. We want to make sure that we continue to inform them and engage with them and communicate with them because we want to keep that relationship going. We would like to maybe invite them to events, invite them to come in and volunteer. Yes, invite them to donate again, for sure. But we really want to make sure that we engage with them on multiple levels, on multiple ways. And that's that connection that we're talking about here. We really want to make sure that we keep that conversation going as much as we possibly can. Thank you. And if you look at this, there are some warning signs that are out there, right? At Bloomerang, we get a little obsessive over the Fundraising Effectiveness Project, the FEP, and the data that comes out once a year, where the FEP looks at the number of donors, the average donation amount, what the donor retention numbers look like, and all of that. And there've been some disturbing numbers in the last couple of years, but there's also some really good signs as well. If we look at the number there on the left, 70% of donors report feeling overwhelmed by donor fatigue. That's a warning sign, obviously. I think that can also be explained from the pandemic, right? So we were going through this crazy time when no one knew what was going to happen next, and there was a lockdown, and then there wasn't, but everyone was stuck at home, and it was just crazy times, and no one knew what was going to happen. And what ended up working for a lot of nonprofits was they kind of said, okay, we can't hold events right now, so our new donor pipeline isn't doing great. So we're going to go back and we're going to call on our major donors because they have proven to be able to help us in the past. So we're going to keep that going because we don't really know what else to do. And the good news, if you looked at the data, is that it worked. The number of donors fell over the last 5 years, but the size of giving stayed the same or actually increased a little bit. So that's wonderful. That's amazing. That means that we have these donors that we can go back to time and time again. But this warning sign tells us we probably want to start making sure that there's some more major donors in our pipeline. We want to make sure that we're not going to continue to go back time and time again to this group. We need to get some small donors in there, some mid-sized donors, and even some larger donors so that we can kind of move them through that pipeline and make them major donors again. And then if you look at the one in the middle, donors consistently say that they respond well when you're giving personalized messages, not just a generic, hi, dear donor, or something like that. We want to put their name in there. We want to tell them things that they want to hear that are important to them. If we're communicating to them in that way, it's going to be a lot more effective than if it's just that sort of generic messaging. And then, which is backed up by the last one, that they're not, that what they really want to hear are those real-time updates. So they are making an investment in your organization. Let's make sure that they know that the return on investment is good and that it's happening. And we can do that by being transparent with them and by doing that as quickly as possible, really. Let's do the next slide. There we go. Yeah, so and this slide really backs up everything that I just said there. The idea that we've really seized on at Bloomerang is that donors want to make a difference in their world, right? In their community. They're looking around and they're seeing that there's some sort of gap in their community. And they said, I want to help fill that. I want to do better over there. I want to provide a better experience for the people that are around me. They've chosen your organization to do that. They feel connected to that. They feel that they're engaged and they feel that it's important. And they've chosen you to help with that. So what we need to do then is make sure that we're communicating back to them that yes, we are being good stewards of the gifts that you have given, and here's the results that we are that we're putting forth. So make sure that you're communicating with those donors appropriately because it's just incredibly important. And as the number 3 there says, the most successful year in campaigns treat fundraising as an extension of the member experience. So hopefully this is stuff that you've been doing all along. And if it's not, start now. Add in as much as you can from the stuff that Mike and I are going to be sharing in a couple of minutes here, because there's never a bad time to start. This, as you'll see in a few minutes here, these are things that donors have said, yes, we want to hear about this. So if you're not providing that to them now, that's okay. Go ahead and pick a few things that you can start with now and get that ball rolling because it'll pay dividends in the future.
All right. So now we're gonna hand it off to James and Mike, who are gonna give us some year-end strategies that you could implement currently from now until the end of the year. Before we do that, though, we do want to ask a poll question. So I am gonna share the poll. If everyone could take just a minute to answer. The question is, what percentage of your participants or members are also donors? And we actually ran this poll at NATO. Some people guessed, some people knew right away. So feel free to just take a guess if you're not 100% sure. So a lot are saying very few. We'll just give it a couple more minutes or seconds, maybe, not minutes. All right, I think everyone has answered at this point. We'll go ahead and end the poll, and I think it should share the results. Let's see. It's the first time I do the polling, so there you go. So 57% said very few, so less than 25% of their community members or participants are actually donating. About 21% said 25 to 50%, and then about 21% said over half of their population. So that's great. All right. On to the next slide. So we did run the same, like I said, at a conference. It was a development conference for the YMCA's, and we saw similar results across the board. Most people were saying that very few of their members were actually donors as well. So we want to kind of change that, don't we? All right, so I'm going to hand it off to Mike now.
Yeah, thanks. And I don't think we're going to need 40 minutes, but hopefully we can just spend, say, the next 15, 20 minutes and just given a couple tactics and strategies that most of you probably already know, but maybe just a nice refresher as we head into this season. And also maybe just talk about possibilities with the tools you already have and how to do more to engage members. So just to piggyback on things James was saying, number one is really, it's a huge opportunity to turn every member into a donor. I was surprised to see on the poll, some folks have more than half of their members as donors, which is phenomenal. Congrats to you. Typically, we do see that members don't give much, and it's an incredibly big opportunity. And I'm going to you're going to hear me say three terms, probably I'll repeat it more than I should, but engage, education, and segmentation are really pretty critical. A lot of times, members, people, organizations feel like, well, they already have a membership. They don't want to give. We're already getting X amount. But ultimately, they're already voting with their wallet saying that your organization brings value to me and my family. A lot of times, they don't know that you actually need additional fundraising or funding to keep that organization going. So it really is, number one, you got to educate your members on thank you for the membership, but we're still in need of more funding to keep these services going now into the future. And two, just how you engage them. Most of the times people don't give simply because they were not asked. So just making the ask, and we'll give a couple tactics about who, what, and when, how to make those asks, but it's just some low-hanging fruit because James showed the statistics that there's less of a pool of donors. So you already have constituents, I'll use that term, that are saying we want to be a part of your org. So cultivating those relationships and segmenting where they're at is really critical. Some folks may just be able to give $5 on top of their membership, and that's great. Some folks, you don't know, they maybe just sold their company or won the lotto and have $30 million coming in. And they rather give to your organization than pay some of that in taxes. So segmentation and really going through the names and having a strategy is really important and can absolutely move the needle. And it's actually where technology can really help because we probably just don't know that information right off the top. So it is a real opportunity here. I'd say a lot of organizations don't take advantage of it, but just leaning on, and Karina, you can go to the next slide, just leaning on the fact that the pool is getting smaller, I would implore you to really take action here. The easiest way, of course, is just to do an email campaign for every member, just to make that ask. And in that campaign, it's just a little education on funding, what your needs are. If you can be explicit in what your needs are and show some accountability to it, more often than not, people will ask. But then when we come to segmentation, if you have had members who have given in the past or have given for a number of years, you want to pull them out and give them more of that VIP reach out. That's when you really start to explore, is it a phone call? Is it an on-site visit? Certainly, if they're come to the front desk, you want to be alerted that somebody should come down and really meet these people. it really matters. It can absolutely move the needle. But then absolutely with the year end and Giving Tuesday coming, just a first time member campaign of an ask, it's just it should happen, and I think it can make a big difference. So we'll go to the next slide, and Giving Tuesday is coming. I think Giving Tuesday is turning about 20 years old at this point. I remember when it first started, and it's just such a great opportunity with all the, well, here in the States, Karina's up in Montreal, Canada, just with Black Friday and all the commercial stuff that goes around Thanksgiving, it really is an opportunity to help your organization connect with your donors and get them to give. I see more often than not, though, organizations thinking if they just put a donation page on their site on Giving Tuesday, or if they do just one email blast, they're going to get a response. And then a lot are often, why didn't we do better? That campaigns needs to start probably the day after Halloween. And it probably needs to be 3 to 5 steps up. Giving Tuesday's coming. This year, we want a goal of 80% participation. This year, Giving Tuesday's coming. We are looking to drive X amount to improve this program. Start to drive that momentum, the importance, and every donation matters. Every dollar matters. So when that Giving Tuesday comes and you make that final appeal, people are like, yeah, I need to be involved with this. Yep. But if you wait too long and you just make it a single communication, your conversion rate probably will be pretty low. You go to the next slide. I think there was a couple more just points on this. So yeah, I mean, make it human. We all get way too many emails, but having a series of email campaigns right now would be good. Maybe for some of your donors that you know, or members that like hard mail, you start doing a mailing or two. And then certainly for some of your major donors or folks that have capability, maybe start to drive some education around, you would love a little extra more this year. So just make it human. It's not just all about emails and clicking links. Oh, by the way, the number one reason that people don't give a second year is because they weren't thanked. Literally, they gave a donation and they didn't even get a thank you. So it really is a great time when you start this campaign to start with a thank you, especially for those. I mean, thank your members for being members, of course. For those that are members and donors, be extra thankful. Those human connections really make all the difference. James is so right. There's fatigue. Everywhere we turn, there's need, and rightfully so. But as an individual, it's like, it's just too much need out there. I'm not going to do anything. But really, I'd like to put the majority of my resources in 1, 2, or 3 orgs that I know are really going to have impact this year. Really good, be a good steward of my money as well. So that's why these human connections really matter. And then again, make it timely. I wouldn't wait until Giving Tuesday, nor would I wait until Christmas Day or New Year's Eve to make these appeals. I would really take the next week, come up with a good end of the year campaign that has multiple touch points. We can keep going.
Or if I could just add to that, because like from personal experience, right? I have kids, and one of my kids goes to a special school, and when I sign up and register and pay for tuition, they always ask me, would you also like to make a donation? So I feel like in terms of timely, as I'm either buying a membership or registering for a class, it's the perfect opportunity, right, to ask for additional funds. Like, we want to support you, help us support other families, things like that. That's always worked for me anyway.
I agree. Thanks for chiming in there.
Sure. All right.
I think you went right to the point 3.
Oh, okay. So I apologize. I didn't know that was coming.
No, it was perfect point, Karina, because you're giving your own personal example. Timing does matter. Because I'm somewhat new to Amilia and the membership side, I was pretty astounded by this stat that when you ask for a donation on top of a membership, there's an 83.5% conversion. That's like astronomical. Like in any industry, for anything, you get a conversion like that, you triple down on it. So make sure you have a great experience. Make sure that you have the ability to ask for that gift, because timing does matter. And even $10, $20, $30 from a large number of people really makes a difference. Not only now, but now you have that group to build fundraising strategies and relationships with for years to come. So huge conversion rate. I wish I had that in a lot of different things. So pretty amazing. And we'll go to the next slide, Karina.
Sure.
Convenience, experience. That was the one thing, folks, that really attracted me to Amelia. Just being around membership orgs for a long time, having kids in rec sports. I just want a great experience. Make it simple, make it easy. I'm going to be totally involved. Don't make it complicated. And boy, I would love everything in just one app, one screen. And when it's all there and it's a great experience, I'm more apt to do more. And then if you can remind me and make it simple for me to go back, I'm going to do more. So making things convenient and modern really does matter. As specific as you can is helpful too, not open-ended. Give tiers, 10, 50, $100 for the membership ask, but certainly in the back end, for major giving, you're going to be a little bit more selective in your individual asks and visible. Just we appreciate your donation. Here's what we're going to do with it. Here's our goal. Here's what we accomplished together last year. Just education, education, education. All right, I think we got 2 more tactics, and then hand it to James, and hopefully at the end we have some questions. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, reward participation, not just philanthropy. It really does come down to, one, being thanked. Do members feel valued for also giving? We want to treat everyone really well, but when someone comes to your org and they have shown additional engagement, giving them that extra experience always really matters. Like, we go to the restaurants where we feel like we have a good experience. I won't start like a holy war, but some people like Lowe's versus Home Depot because of the experience they have. These things really matter. It's competition. So showing that you understand, rewarding, giving special things, special thanks, special perks, absolutely make a total difference, because there really is competition for dollars everywhere we turn. And fatigue's a real thing. I think there's a couple more takeaways on the next slide. Yeah, back to the word segmentation. I won't make too much of a plug, but this is really where, in a donor CRM, it's really great to have the view of who's a member, member only without giving, who's a giver plus a member, really start to segment, make strategic decisions of how you're going to communicate and engage with those levels. And I can promise you, 2 decades here, it makes a difference with fundraising. So hopefully you have the insights. Certainly, if you don't have the insights, that's why we're here. We'd love for you to work with both of us. But it makes a big difference versus just using sticky notes and hoping people will give. All right, I have one more tactic, and then I will turn it back, I think, to James. Experience. So everything's changed. Everything's fast paced. Everyone's got a lot going on. We got to make things simple and easy. Basically, we have attention spans of like 7 seconds. So does it engage me? Does it educate me? Does it make it easy for me to take action? If you do those things, people respond. If you lack in any one of those, your conversion is going to go down. So, working with really good tech, and in this world, pretty much we're all on iPhones or smartphones, or we're connected to the internet all the time. So a digital strategy absolutely matters. And one of the reasons I was attracted to Amelia, because of the experience we can give on the front end, which many people want and need and are asking for. So next slide, Karina. So, to really put a capstone on it, a lot of the tactics and strategies will mend together. But, those 3 terms, if you get anything from me today, and by the way, would love to connect with you, shoot me something on LinkedIn or whatever. Love talking about these different things. As I mentioned, I'm part of a small nonprofit that is literally putting these tactics into place to ensure our continued success and growth. But segmentation, having a view of who, what, and when, educating why it matters, educating, why we need you and we need more and to keep these programs going, and then ultimately thanking and giving a great experience. Over time, you should definitely be measuring lapsed members, lapsed donors. Why are people no longer buying memberships? Why are they no longer giving? Probably a personal reach out to find out. So then you can correct, so you don't have more people drop off. But you're always going to have lapsed donors and members. That happens. But if there's starting to be a trend, you really need to understand that, because there is fatigue and there is competition. But putting these things together, we think you continue to be very successful because we know the organizations on the phone today deliver a lot of value to your communities, and people are counting on you and your programs to be there for the long term. I think that's what I had. So now, James, are you going to throw a couple more tactics for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. That was fantastic. I'll come back to a couple of your points as we go because they were really, really great. So thank you for that. So I'm going to start my part of this by explaining a couple of things and then digging into the slides some. A couple of years ago, I had the idea to give a $25 donation to 50 YMCA's. 50 Boys and Girls Clubs, 50 habitats, and so on. I did I don't know, 10 of them or however, more than that, however many it was. And what I was doing was kind of looking at what the donation experience was like, but then also what the follow-up experience was like. So for the donation experience, was it easy for me to find the donate button? Could I leave a gift using something like Venmo? Did I have the option to leave a gift in honor or memory of someone? That sort of thing. And then for follow-up, it was more, did I get a thank you, like Mike said? Did I get thanked at all? Did I get added to an email newsletter list? Was I invited to an event? That sort of thing. And there were a lot of lessons that I learned. There were some takeaways, and that's what I've kind of chosen to key in on here. And the first one sounds like such a basic sort of, yeah, we should do that. But in all of my time presenting this information at different webinars and conferences and all kinds of stuff, I've asked people, how many of you have given a gift to yourself in the last 12 months? And it's less than 5%. Very, very infrequent. And I would urge you, please, please, please go and do this. Go do this today and then set up a calendar reminder to remind yourself to go and do it again in 6 months or a year or whatever cadence you want. And the reason is because stuff gets added and taken out of websites all the time. And we don't really know, it's all kind of a mystery. You've changed one page and then all of a sudden a link on a completely unrelated page doesn't work anymore. And you just want to test this stuff and make sure that everything is working the way that it's supposed to be working. Out of those, I think I gave $725 donations, whatever it was, over the course of about a year. There were multiple times that I would select an organization, go to their website. Okay, where's the donate now button? Okay, there we go. Click on that. Click on it again. Okay, that's not working. All right, let me try to find like a get involved button or somewhere, and maybe there's a drop down menu and I can find another way to get to the online donation form. And sometimes I was able to, and sometimes I wasn't. But that's if you're making it hard for your donors to donate, they probably won't donate. So make sure that that process works. If you'll go to the next slide, Karina, the other important thing that you want to make sure works is this. So a lot, or I guess I would say at this point, most of the online donation providers at this point will allow your donors to cover the processing fees. So in other words, instead of making a $100 gift, they're going to make $103 or whatever that number ends up being. 100 of which goes to you, and then $3 goes to the processing company to cover their fees. A lot of organizations now have started defaulting so that that little checkbox is pre-checked so that when I go in to donate $100, it is going to pull out $103. And I have to actively find that checkbox and uncheck it if I don't want to pay for those processing fees. Think through very carefully if that's something that you want to require your donors to do or not. Some donors are going to be absolutely fine with it if given the choice, and other donors may get a little bit upset there. So think through that really carefully, but also make sure it works. Please give yourself a donation. If you've defaulted that so that that is the way that the donors see it, they're paying for the processing fees, go in and uncheck that box and make sure that it doesn't charge them for those fees anyway. There were a handful of times, I will not name and shame platforms. Meet me at NATO sometime, buy me a beer, and I might name and shame platforms, but I won't do it right now. There were times that I would go in and uncheck that box and I would still get charged for those processing fees. That's not okay. If that happens, if you give yourself a gift, you uncheck that box and still get charged those processing fees, you need to call up your online donation provider immediately and get them to fix that. That's not okay. The same thing is true for tips. You're seeing a lot of platforms that are using tips as a way to make a little bit of extra money. Make sure that your donors know that the tips go to the platform, they do not go to you. And make sure that if the donors take those steps to remove the tips from their donation, they do not get charged. Again, not okay. If they get charged, if you get charged when you give yourself a test gift, your donors are getting charged, even if they don't want to be, that's going to reflect poorly on you, not on the platform. Your donors don't know a lot about the technology. They don't really care. They're just trying to give you $25 or whatever. So if they get charged extra, they're going to think poorly of you, not of the platform. So make sure that everything works really, really well there. And think through all of this very carefully and very purposefully. If you'll go to the next slide, thank you. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I would urge you, if you don't have the ability to accept Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, all of that fun stuff, please, please, please talk to your provider and find out if that's something that they are going to be adding. Maybe they've already added it and you need to flip some sort of switch behind the scenes. Or, of course, go find a new provider because the chances are pretty good you're probably missing out on some donations, especially from some younger donors. So I go to a lot of conferences for Bloomerang, a lot. I think last year I had like 120 nights at a Marriott hotel. It's a lot. And one of the most frequent questions I get from just all the entire spectrum of nonprofit attendees at these conferences is how do we get more younger donors in the door? And my first question back to them is, do you allow your donors to pay using Venmo? And if they say no, I say, you're probably missing out on some then. That's how they pay for things. The story I like to tell is that of my second daughter. Her name is Faith, and she recently graduated college. And right before she left campus, she called me up one day and said, "Hey, Dad, I've been volunteering with this group off campus. Really like what they do. Want to support them. Would like to give them an online donation, maybe even something monthly. But I just went to their website and their online donation page says that they accept credit cards, and I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card, but it doesn't say that they'll accept that, so I can't do that, right?" And I said, "No, no, honey, you're fine. Just put your debit card number in there. No worries. You're good to go there." And I kind of chuckled a little bit to myself, and then I got to thinking, that's a bummer, man. Because Faith knows what I do, and obviously she feels comfortable to call me and say, "Hey, can you help with this?" But how many other young people out there don't have that resource and don't know that debit card equals credit card when it comes to these things, and just kind of move on and go give a gift to someone else? That's a bummer. I can tell you with absolute 100% certainty that all four of my children use Venmo because I get Venmo requests for tacos and whatever else like every freaking week. So if you have a little Venmo sign up there, they will know that they can pay an online donation that way. And if that's what they want to do, then they'll do it. So think through again how you can get your current vendor or find a new vendor or whatever it takes, but would highly encourage you to take a long look at getting Venmo up on your online donation form because it'll pay dividends on down the line. Excuse me. If you'll go to the next one, Karina, thank you. So what we really wanted to emphasize here from the Bloomerang perspective is something that we're really passionate about, and that is donor retention. For anyone who's been around Bloomerang at all, you'll know that our entire identity is wrapped up in helping you retain more of the donors who have already said, "Hey, we really like what you're doing. We want to support that. We want to continue to help you reach more people and do more of the really wonderful things that you're doing." And this slide really kind of encapsulates why we're so passionate about donor retention. So I want to make it really clear. No one is arguing, don't go get new donors. Please go get new donors. We talked a while ago about how that donor fatigue and all of that that's setting in amongst, what was it, 70% of your donors? That's a huge number. We need new donors. Please go get new donors. For a lot of organizations, that's through events. Awesome. Keep holding those events. Do peer to peer. Do all of the cool stuff that's out there. But also pay a little bit of attention to that group of people who have already said, yeah, we love you and we want to support you. We want you to do more of what you're doing. Those people are really, really important. From a purely, financial point of view, this slide is really important. It shows that it's a lot cheaper to retain an existing donor than it is to capture a brand new donor. A lot of numbers here on the screen. The numbers that I've always heard is that for every $1 you raise from an existing donor, it costs the organization about a quarter. And for every $1 you raise from a brand new donor, it costs the organization about $1.30. And if we think through events and how expensive they are, but to do catering and set up the venue and all of that stuff, as well as the expense of lost opportunity time for your staff who are probably running around at the last minute and setting up chairs and tables and all of that stuff, that number starts to make a lot of sense. So again, let's make sure that we give these people the information that they need and that they want to keep them coming back so that we're not just expending a ton of energy, time, effort, and money on these events and not seeing people come back and donate again. Let's try to keep them coming back year over year. I think the next slide will talk through, yeah, exactly, what those current donor retention numbers look like. And as you can see, it's not fantastic. 40% retention across all donors isn't great. I think largely that's driven by the number on the left. Your first-time donors being retained at only 20% of the time. That's a really depressing number for most people because, again, we're thinking about those events that we're holding, putting in all the blood, sweat, tears, time, money, effort, all of that into these events, and only 1 out of 5 donors is coming back year after year. I think the silver lining here is the bucket on the right. So what we need to do is figure out how to move them from being a first-time donor to being a repeat donor, because once we do that, we're in a lot better shape. 60% looks a whole lot better than 20%. So the question is then, why do people stop donating? And the next slide talks about that. So this was a study done by Adrian Sargent 25 years ago, and I've seen it replicated a number of times, and the results are always very, very, very similar to what you see here. What we've done on this slide is sort of boiled down the results there on the left to the one on the right that's circled. Poor service or communication is really what you can boil this down to. Donors want to hear from you. I want to go back to some of the things that Mike talked about, where we all get tons of emails and we have our inboxes are completely full. So your messaging has to stand out. It has to be to the right person at the right time with the right message. If we're just spamming people with a ton of, hey, donate now, we need your help, all of that, you're not going to cut through the noise. You're just contributing to the noise at that point. One of the things that I think Mike talked about also was surveys. Oh no, you're fine, Karina. Never
Okay,
mind.
sorry.
You're good. The idea that maybe we want to ask our donors some questions, get to know them a little bit. That will lead us to this exactly right here. Why do donors keep giving? So there's a lot of really good information here. I want to highlight a couple of them. The first one, donors perceive organization to be effective. The question I always ask is, who is telling them that you're effective? It's got to be you. No one else is going to do it. You have to share the good news of what you're doing. You have to share the impact that you're having on your community with your organization. If you're not sharing that information, no one else is. So how can you effectively message that to people? And it should be good news, right? I mean, you all are doing awesome stuff. You're helping families and assisting kids and all kinds of wonderful things. Like those are joyful messages to share with people. So get that good word out there. Think about number 5 here. The donor feels like they're part of an important cause. Again, who's going to tell them that it's an important cause if you're not going to tell them? You have to be the one to tell them that. So make sure that they know about the impact that you're having and the good work that you're doing. And then number 7 is incredibly important as well. The donor receives information showing who is being helped. The caveat here, of course, is please think through privacy concerns really, really carefully. Be very purposeful with that and think through how to make people anonymous, how to ask for permission, all of those things. That's really, really important. But your donors do want those stories. They want to know about the impact that you're having and how those lives are being affected and changed because of the work that you're doing that was funded and helped by the dollars that they gave you. If you go to the next slide, we'll talk about storytelling. And this is what we have found to be the best way to share those stories and to share those impacts that the organizations are having. The idea here is that there are 4 key ingredients to a compelling story. If you think about your favorite book or your favorite TV show, favorite movie, anything like that, most of them anyway, are going to have these 4 ingredients here. I think the first one is probably the most important one. So again, think through carefully privacy concerns and all of that. But the more that you can personalize these stories and actually talk about the young person who, attended the after school program, got the tutoring help that they needed, plus was able to take home the backpack full of food, and what a difference that made in their life, and their grades went up, and all of those amazing stories, that's going to make a really big difference. And the story that I like to tell about this slide is with our oldest daughter. Her name is Larissa. She lives in Chicago, and she travels on the L every day to work, probably 40 minutes each way or whatever it is. And she reads a lot, like a lot. Like I think last year she had over 200 books she read. She reads a lot. I read a lot. I do not read that much. I cracked 100 last year. That's awesome. And
Still
she got,
impressive, yeah.
I know, right? Not bad, not bad. I'm on a plane a lot, so it works. She and I trade book recommendations back and forth, but not as often as you would think, right? So we're reading between the two of us, let's say 250 unique books, and maybe once a quarter, maybe one of us will text the other one and said, "Oh my gosh, I just put this down. It's amazing. You got to check it out." And the other person will read it, and then we share thoughts back and forth. And I started thinking about why that is. I mean, we both read a lot. And I think what it really boils down to for me is that first bullet point there, character. When you get emotionally invested in the story and it's 2 in the morning and you have to stop reading this stupid book because you got phone calls in like 5 hours and you got to get up and work out and shower and all that stuff, but I can't put it down because I got to know what happens to these people. That's character. So again, think through how to make people anonymous or whatever you need to do, but those stories that you can tell about the characters, about the individuals that you're impacting in your work, it's going to make an enormous difference. That's going to really resonate with people and cause them to continue to come back and remember you and come back and donate, come back and volunteer, attend events, and just keep engaging with you and keep that story going. I think the next slide, yeah, has a sample cadence for how we recommend kind of staying in touch with people after they've donated. And a lot of people look at this and kind of go, "Oh dear God, that's okay, that's a lot. Can't do all of this." No worries. Pick a couple of things, start there, a couple months later, add a couple of other things, do what you can do. Add in a little bit at a time. The idea here is to keep being in touch with your donors, keep them informed about what's going on, and give them opportunities to engage with you. I'm going to really quickly highlight the one right in the middle, the tour invitation. I would put tour invitation / volunteer invitation. If we think about event donors, they've heard a lot about the work that we're doing. They've heard, the executive director maybe come up and talk. Maybe there was a program recipient who gave a testimonial. So they've heard a lot about the wonderful work that you all are doing, but they haven't actually experienced it or seen it with their own eyes. The tour invitation and a volunteer invitation, that would get them on site and get them to see with their own eyes, which takes it from the abstract to the concrete. So if you can figure out a way to add that into your cadence, that's a really, really good idea there. And I think that's what I had. Thanks,
Yeah,
Karina.
we're going to pass it back to Mike now. Thank you so much, James. That was super useful information.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Chance. Appreciate that. And just going to wrap it up here. It's not a sales pitch or anything like that, but there really is value in connecting solutions to give your members and donors, members who should be donors, a good view for you, because you guys have hard jobs, a lot on your plate. And I know you will be a lot more effective if you have solutions working for you, giving you this information to go build those relationships. 4 months in Amelia, love it. Very excited about this partnership with Bloomerang. I think together we can do great things for you. And if you would ever like to talk to any of us, we'll have our contact information. So hopefully this was valuable. And Karina, back to you to really wrap it up.
Yes. All right. So we're just gonna kind of summarize the key takeaways that were discussed throughout this presentation, and I'll try to go a little quickly because I'd like to leave some room for questions at the end. So what can you do now to make an impact from now until the end of the year or until Giving Tuesday? So definitely you want to audit your engagement and giving touch points. Make sure that those are effective, that you're reaching out to your community, whether they're members or not. But making sure that the interaction happens at a critical moment, like we said, right? So if I'm already buying a membership or if I'm already signing up for a class, it's a great opportunity to ask for additional funds to support your cause. Focus on the most connected members, so the people who are participating, who are coming to the facility. It could be in person. Train your staff on talking points to support, your campaigns. But those are the people that you can go after right now. It's like your lowest hanging fruit. Definitely tailor your messaging. Make sure that it's not a generic, oh, hey donor, to James' point earlier. Um, Make it a personalized message, but also show appreciation once they donate, because that really makes an impact. And then try to launch a quick, oops, I went too fast, a quick win campaign, something that you could do right now that's high impact, like, the checkout donation option. So as they're going to check out, ask them for additional funds or offer additional perks, to your members who are signing up now, things like that. Something that could be a quick win from now to the end of the year. So now we're going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A. Hopefully we have a couple of questions. I think we have a couple already. So we have Mike. What would be your go-to strategy if you had to choose just one? And then curious about James as well.
Go-to strategy would be for sure just having a list of all my members and doing some type of 3 to 5 email campaign reach out. Try to segment a little bit based on any insights I have about locations or propensity to give, or have they given before. But start now with thank you for being a member, and or thank you for giving in the past. We couldn't do it without you. Here's what we're trying to do to improve our programs. We'd love to be more involved with you. So just an email reach out to your members to help engage them again for this upcoming giving season. That's what I would do.
James, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think make sure that you have a communication strategy for those for your members, your donors, both of them together, separately, however you want to tackle that. Make sure that you have a strategy in place. I think going back to some of the things that Mike was talking about, um, eh, this time of year, your donors are going to get a ton of emails, a ton. One of the things that drives me just a little bit crazy is when the goal isn't couched in something that I as a donor will care about. So in other words, if it's we have a goal to raise $10,000 in the next week, great. What are you going to do with that? What does that accomplish? Why does that mean anything to me as either an existing donor or a potential donor? So make sure that you are sending those messages that will cut through. It's even better if you know that my wife is a reading coach. And so if you're launching some sort of literacy campaign, mention that and segment out, as Mike has talked about a number of times, segment out so that people that you know care about literacy get that email appeal, because she'll be much more likely to respond positively to that instead of just hey, we have a big goal and we need your help. That doesn't do a whole lot.
So I guess part of that would also be make sure that you're collecting that data, right? So if someone's signing
Absolutely.
up for a membership, maybe ask the question, what are your hobbies? What do you like? And then you can use that and consolidate that for more targeted communications. Yeah.
100%. Yep.
All right. So we have Norman Mandela, one of my favorite people in the world, asking a question from Sephardic Community Center. So he would like to know, and I don't know if anyone on this call can answer this, but he wants to know how strong the API integration between SmartRec and Bloomerang is, and if there are plans to increase communications between the two platforms. I don't know if you all want to take it. I could take it on. It's up to you.
Go for it, Karina.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we're in phase one of the integration. We do have the APIs. We are API friendly platform, so there's the possibilities are there to expand on the integration. Definitely information in real time. So that's one of the points that Norman makes. We definitely do want to push information as quickly as possible between the two platforms. Right now, the integration is a simple push of information to Bloomerang. There is some two-way communication, but it's limited, and that's where we have an opportunity to expand further on the integration itself.
And I'll add a little bit to that just from a historic perspective. One of my very first customer calls that I took as a salesperson 10 and a half years ago was with a YMCA that wanted to connect Bloomerang with a membership software. It's never been a possibility before. I am so incredibly excited about the possibilities that this partnership gives to both sides, actually all three sides, Amelia, Bloomerang, and you all, the customers. I think this is going to be it's already far better than anything that has been available. And as we continue to grow it and make it better and better, it's going to do amazing things. This has been an underserved market for a long time, and I'm really excited to be able to get in there and help you all more. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Great. All right. So we do have another question from Nathan. So this question addresses having a strategic communication plan specifically with Bloomerang. So that's for you, James. I haven't fully dived into Bloomerang CRM capabilities. I do like the first-time donor call out that auto populates. I don't have any trigger set up to create a task, for instance. For a donor whose 3-year giving anniversary is coming up, is this an easy system to automate to guide me on who to contact each day, week?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
hope that question was clear.
I'm slightly biased, Nathan, but yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I think that we took a while to get our journey automation process up and running and implemented and all of that because we wanted to not overwhelm people with it. We've seen some other systems out there that do amazing things, but also require a bottle of Excedrin on your desk as you try to put all that into place. And we wanted to not do that to our users. One of the things that I think Bloomerang has always done really, really well is maintain that intuitiveness and make things easy for people to learn and use. And I think we've done a very good job with our journey automation. So if you'd like to connect offline, LinkedIn or whatever's easiest for you, happy to walk you through how some of that would work and get you the resources that you need for that.
Great. And then I do have, we'll make room for one more question. So what kind of reports or analytics will I get from combining the two systems? I don't know who wants to take that. James, do you have insights on that on the integration side or?
With the idea is that you'll be able to see, oh, okay, this person is a member. They also donated here. They also attended this event, that sort of thing. So it's that holistic view of your constituents, as Mike said earlier, that really allows you to get a better handle on, oh, we're going to run a capital campaign, let's say, and we need our top 50 donors that are lined up and ready to go. Okay, well, here's our top 50, and we can see a really more complete picture of who they are and know that, yeah, they're ready to go. You know, we're not in the public phase of the campaign. We're still kind of vetting things out and all of that, but we've got our go list. We're ready to go because we have that more holistic view. I think that's one of the major advantages that the integration brings. I don't know,
And
Mike,
I
if
think
you want
it's
to add.
lacking, sorry, it is lacking in a lot of systems currently where
Yes,
everything is kind of siloed, right? So you have your member
yes,
management solution and then you have your donor management solution, but they're not actually connected in any way, right? So it
that's right.
becomes now I have to pull all these reports from different systems and kind of mush them together, as I like to say.
Yes.
Did you want to add something, Mike, to that?
No,
No, we're
good.
good. Okay, good. On the flip side, in Amelia, when let's say someone is checking in, you'll actually be able to see if they are a donor. So there'll be like a little tag on their account, and your frontline staff could offer more personalized interaction because they are donors. So going back to saying thank you, I mean, that's just such a simple act, but someone scans in and you see they're a donor. Thank you for your donation. We're happy to have you here, right? So that's kind of the type of information you'll get.
And can I answer this last question really quickly?
Sure, go for it.
So the question is, for the post-donation communication cadence, if you had to simplify it for resource reasons, what would you focus on? So anything that you can automate, like emails, that sort of thing is always good, especially if you can personalize them through merge fields and that sort of thing. And then, as I said before, volunteer invite or tour invite are both good. The last thing would be phone calls. Really good things happen when you make phone calls to donors. The second gift is higher, you get the second gift faster, and you're much more likely, just period, to get a second gift. So there you go. That would be my recommendations.
Wonderful, thank you. And I just wanted to put this slide up as we're closing out the webinar. So if you do want to reach out to any of us, our email addresses are here. Obviously, LinkedIn is another channel where you can reach us. We did get another little comment from Norman. So a great partnership, both platforms, user-friendly and intuitive. So we appreciate that, Norman. And yeah, it was really great to chat with all of you. Thank you both, James and Mike, for your time, and for everyone that stuck around till the end. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Love to hear from you all.
Take care.